these clubs, they're not giving us head coaches any freedom. Don't know what to do. Our hands are tied. Coaching like this, it's a shambles. I think that's the theme across a lot of these gaffers right now, isn't it, mate?
I've got a question to throw back at that.
Go on.
Is it that the coaches, are in cuffs,
Coaches.
or are they just not good enough? Has the Premier League cycled through all of the elite gaffers, fired them too quickly, and now they've buggered off elsewhere?
We've got no one left.
There's no one to go through. Genuinely, think about it. Apart from international coaches who aren't going to come and manage now because there's a World Cup to be won in 7 months' time, we've gone through the lot. Chelsea mostly, obviously, but Ruben Amorim's sacked since we were last in here at the end of last year. Enzo Maresca walked, basically sacked, whatever way you want to look at it. He's not there anymore. And you've got Oliver Glasner having press conference meltdown to Palace, who was one of the most best managers in the league, apparently. We've said that as well, and I still kind of back that. You've got Arne Slot, who's just having a bang average season. You've got Pep Guardiola, who might be about to leave Man City at any given moment. You've got flipping Thomas Frank, who, to be frank, should not be the Tottenham manager anymore. He can stay if he wants.
Thomas the Frank engine's not choo-chooing, is he?
No, he's not at all, mate. That train is broken down. They've called the engineers, but no one's arriving. But at least the beer pours from the bottom at Tottenham. There's always that. Mate, I'm going to just throw out a statement. These managers that everybody get excited about because it's modern football, they're not good enough. Sorry, yeah, correct. These head coaches aren't good enough to manage big clubs and deal with the pressure.
I agree.
That's it.
I agree, but I sympathise with half of them.
And can I guess why?
Go on.
Because you think that they deserve time to sort it out?
No, I think clubs nowadays, and a few of them, have put infrastructure in place that just hinders them from the very beginning.
Spot on. Why, though?
This is because football shifted.
It's a money-making machine.
We go back to the same point, bro. This is it. The game's gone. The game's gone,
honestly,
mate.
And this is the best way to explain it, because unfortunately, for everyone, for all of us, the way that money drives this sport now actually makes it so difficult for teams to function. And this isn't me just saying, FFP's rubbish, get rid of it. No, as football clubs have to treat their entity, their being, like a business more and more, it actually ruins the football. And I think you can see that happening on the pitch. There's a reason why there's so many 0-0s. Let's also throw another thing out there, which kind of can become relevant to the managers. I saw a great take on social media this week that people might despise, or you might love it. Let us know in the comments. 0-0 draws should get you no points. Draws can get you a point, but if it's 0-0, you don't get any points. That would certainly fix the entertainment in football, wouldn't it? And do you know what it would force managers to do, Eunice? Actually try and coach attacking, exciting football again. The game is boring.
But you know what it is? I don't think it's about just trying to get teams to play attacking, free-flowing football. I think the way that the game has gone now, especially in the Premier League, everyone is so hell-bent on this one way of playing out of the back, playing in certain patterns. We must go down these avenues. If not, it's a disaster. When football does not work that way. The creativity and the freedom of the player is being destroyed. And everyone's turned into a robot. And these coaches are not helping the situation when they want their team to play in a certain pattern every single game. It's bonkers. But at the same time, this, I think, also comes from the higher-ups at these football clubs. And they want this certain way to be played, which... This is where we go back into the money side. The creativity and the freedom's taken out of the players, because the players that are brought in are all mainly brought in on a financial aspect.
Yes, or a data potential aspect.
And it's all data driven. And this is why we say the game's gone. Do you know what I mean? Because it's the intention behind all of this isn't even for the success of the team. It's to create a sustainable environment in the team, which is at the expense of the creativity and the freedom that you do need to see if you do want to not just be entertained, but in order to come up with solutions that are going to give you something different. Everyone now is playing the same blueprint. And it's led to this point now where we now are talking about, okay, we just want to see some attacking free-flowing football.
But this is where the whole managerial discussion becomes weird, because Thomas Frank at Brentford, I'd say at times they played some really good football, very attacking, scored a lot of goals. Thomas Frank at Tottenham, like what? Why doesn't that work? For example, because Spurs, they bought some great attacking players in the summer. Xavi Simons, Mohamed Kudus came in. Kolo Muani won a World Cup. Matisse Tell was one of the most sought-after teenagers in world football. All of these guys became Tottenham players in the summer, but their football is dead. Thomas Frank looks dead in that dugout. Literally, the guy's gone.
I think there's two elements to this. Firstly, Tottenham in its own right is just such a weird space, right? They're different to the rest.
Yeah.
But also, it's not Brentford. And as much as we mock Spurs, the history of the Tottenham, all of this, and I don't feel like they even have enough to back up what I'm about to say. Weirdly enough, Tottenham is meant to be a different kettle of fish to Brentford. They don't act like it, don't get me wrong, right? But the resources that they should have in place is different to Brentford. At Brentford, there isn't pressure.
Yeah.
And you're given that time and that freedom to put your identity on the team. And weirdly enough, like I say, because Tottenham don't have the silverware to back this up, but you don't have that time. Realistically, look, it's like a rock and a hard place what's going on here. At these top clubs, these coaches do need time. They do need time, right? You can't expect something to just, especially the coaches of this level. I don't believe these coaches are top level coaches. This is also a problem. But you hire them, you can't expect these lot to come in and just all of a sudden, boom, in 2 weeks, get everything up and running. Do you know what I mean? There has to be time, but I also think they're not of the level. And what they're looking to implement also doesn't help. But I do think they come in with their hands tied too. It's a multifaceted issue here where the aim of the clubs right now is mainly financial.
Yeah.
FFP and PSR and all this was going on just does not help whatsoever. And then you want these coaches to come in and bring in an identity, but they're not of a high level. So when they don't get you to the level that you want, you think I need to change them, but then you're just repeating the cycle.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
I mean, if you think about the three clubs really that we're talking about predominantly here, Chelsea, club, mess. Manager, good, gone. Ruben Amorim, don't think he's a bad gaffer. Club, mess, manager, gone. Tottenham, decent gaffer, club, mess, manager, probably gone.
Yep.
There's a running theme here, isn't there?
Yep.
Of the poorly ran football clubs end up getting these good, promising young managers, but because it's all about, oh crap, how can Tottenham realistically have expected to go from 17th last year, 16th, to what? Champions League? They're doing better under Thomas Frank than they did under Ange. They're in the Champions League. They still probably will qualify for the knockout rounds of that, and they're higher in the league.
Well, higher in the league by 3 spots, and they're in 14th.
But like, what can you? If the club, what I'm saying is, when the clubs are such a mess with the way that they're ran, like Chelsea, you've got interference and you've got flipping board directors going in and talking to the gaffer after every game. Stupid, just stupid. It's not collaborative. You got Tottenham, where I mean, look at the way that that's been for so long. Like they've been expecting better, but don't do it, and like that's just where they are. Man United haven't won anything, and they're the biggest club in the country, but they haven't won anything major for so long. You got Ineos who come in there to save everybody, who have made it worse to pocket more money for the Glazers. Like, every manager who goes to one of those clubs is doomed to fail.
There's a theme here, though, as well, that I want to highlight. It's no surprise that the clubs that you've listed are all heading in the direction they're heading in. But the ones that actually have some sort of stability are the ones that are structured correctly.
What, like Brentford?
No.
Who?
Arsenal, City, Villa.
Ah, yeah, in that sense, yes, you're right. Spot on. Managers.
they're the ones that have managers. And even Arteta, who I still believe is limited, but in the structure that he's in at the moment, is getting better. And I feel like the structure is what's helping him. What is that structure? Arsenal rectified themselves here because under Stan Kroenke, they weren't like this. But when it was handed over to Josh and Stan Kroenke took a back seat and now it's Josh Kroenke and then they change the directors and things are structured in a correct way. You've got, after hiring Edu, and even Edu went out of the door, and now they've got Berta, who came in from Atletico. You got ownership that have taken a backseat, director who's leading the way, with a manager who's in direct contact
with autonomy.
With autonomy. Boom. A team is in place. Manchester City, Pep Guardiola has the reign. Here you go. You're managing the team. You make the decisions. Yeah. No problem.
You
Again,
need these players,
with a director.
we'll get you them.
Boom. Aston Villa, Unai Emery. Here's a green card. You do what you need to do. That trust is handed over to the gaffer. But that gaffer is an actual gaffer that isn't interfered with. You know, Arteta, for example, is someone that is definitely, of course, working alongside the director. But Arteta has a big influence on what is going on in this team and who is brought in. Because it's in his image. What the other clubs want to do is not in the image of the coach that they're hiring. They want it in their own image. And they want to get in someone that's just going to go along with the flow.
This is where it keeps going wrong, in my opinion. Because you're spot on. Because if you give the manager the reins, you can start that process. Arsenal are how many years in? Phases in, as people like to call it. A lot. Pep, been there ages. Unai Emery's been at Villa now for long enough for him to be given the trust of the clubs. All of these clubs that are trying to get to that level, maybe they're not even trying to get to that level. There's the conspiracy there. But at some point or another, all of these clubs that we're talking about have to give the reins to that guy who's in charge, because otherwise the process will keep rinsing and repeating.
100%.
And it's like a flipping swimming pool, vortex of water right now. And you're falling further away. There's a reason the Premier League table is the way it is. Liverpool spent £500 million. Of course, they're in the top four. And all three of those teams you mentioned are leagues above everybody else in points-wise. They're not exactly doing great, but way better than all of the other dross in the Premier League right now.
100%. And I will also say this. Bring that structure back to all the other teams and allow these coaches to be managers. Yes. You're holding them back.
Yes.
You're holding them back.
Everyone else is going to go further ahead and everyone's going to fall back down.
Of course. There has to be, these coaches need to be given a chance to enable themselves to create a team in their blueprint. What they want, what they envision. Not for them to go into a structure and just go, okay, I'll just go along with what you tell me then. You're holding that guy back. And this is why I think we're getting low-level, new, up-and-coming coaches that are not really showing much. Like I said, they do have their hands tied, but they're also not being given a platform to be able to create a team in their own image properly. Yeah. Whereas those three that I mentioned have. Arsenal, like I said, are the example of a team that did pivot. They were, at the beginning of Arteta's reign, I think very poorly structured. They did make that shift. And when they started showing intent in the transfer market, that Jesus and Zinchenko window was the game changer. That was the pivot. And then from there, they got Declan Rice in, and then they got, you see the players that they have now, they've got so much stability in, but that is in Arteta's image as well. Yeah. And that is what happens when you have a gaffer, not a head coach. And I feel like this is backed. You're backed properly. We've moved away from that because of money.
That's it.
And the aim of these clubs, firstly, is financials. Financials first, football second. Football's football. It's a sport. We need to remember that.
I think we nailed that in a concise, packaged manner. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Tomorrow, we'll be back here on ShootOut with a Champions League roundup back in the studio. And of course, Friday is the day for the Premier League predictions. Proper ones, not just graphics that we post and then you guys might see it, you might not. Be here. Be there or be square, as they say.
Up the Prem.
Up the Prem.